Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Sunday School. I'm Elder Fred, your gracious host and teacher, and we're going to try this again. This was what we brought last week, but we had a real bad, whatever you want to call it, last week. So I paused in the middle of my preparation this week and said, let's just run that back. So we're in Matthew 11, verses 1 through 6, and it reads thusly. And it came to pass, when Jesus had made an end of commanding his 12 disciples, he departed thence to teach and to preach in their cities. Now when John had heard in the prison the works of Christ, he sent two of his disciples, and said unto him, Art thou he that should come, or do we look for another? Art thou he that should come, or should we look for another? Jesus answered and said unto them, Go and show again those things which ye do hear and see. Jesus answered and said unto them, Go and show John again these things which ye do hear and see. The blind receive their sight, and the lame walk. The lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear. The dead are raised up, and the poor have the gospel preached to them. And that's also interpreted that even the poor were preaching the gospel. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. That is our reading today. The flowers may fade, the grass withers, but the word of our Lord shall stand forever. I want to thank you all for being on with me. And again, if you experience any type of buffering or anything like that, please let me know, and I'll make those changes. All right, because I can't tell you what's going on. I think there's something going on with my my software. But anyway, we're gonna press on through here. The title today is "Quit Tripping, You Need Jesus." There are people who need the Lord, and for some reason will not come to him, will not allow us to share Christ with them. They will not accept our help when we point them to scripture. They will not accept what we know the gospel to be, what we know the gospel to mean, even to us. And so I want us to take a moment here. Y'all hold on, I'm gonna do something because I think this is gonna help me for next week. I need to, here we go. All right, so we're gonna get moving on that. But there are some people who need Jesus, who will not allow us the chance to share Christ with them. There are people who need Jesus, who will not allow us to share with them the very thing that they need in this instant to grow their faith, to come into the knowledge of Christ. And so today we're revisiting this same thing when Jesus is talking to John's disciples. He ends this this pericope, our reading, by saying, "Blessed are those who are not offended in me." And so this is something that makes us ask this question. What is it about Christ that is offensive? What is it about Christ that's offensive? Well, back in that time, there were people who were offended in the way he came. There were people who were offended by what he said, even offended that by the fact that the gospel was preached to the poor. That was something that was offensive to them. And so we have to ask ourselves this question: what about Christ is offensive? Well, you got to understand, Jesus says, "Come to me." To the Jews, that was offensive because Jesus had inserted himself into that place by saying that he was now the way to God, and they was like, "Ain't no way you the way to God. Certainly not by the way you came. You're a poor carpenter. Ain't no way things come through you," because they, like us today, look at those with excess, look at those with access as people with power, as people who know what they're talking about. This is why the disciples asked Jesus when he tells them, "Listen, take up your cross and follow me. Give all you have to the poor." Even after he's talking to the rich young ruler, they look at Jesus and they're like, "What do you mean give away our stuff? What about that?" Jesus says, "Listen, don't you know that anybody who gives up anything for me will receive that much more, at least that, and that much more in this life and in the life to come?" So he's telling them, "Listen, I got you." Even that lesson is offensive. Take all you have. To think about to Peter. Listen, you haven't caught anything all day, but let me in the boat. You haven't caught anything, but let me in this boat so I can teach. And then after that, he says, "Now go out fishing again." That can be offensive. Some of the things that Christ will direct us to do can be offensive. Why? Because it makes me have to come out of myself and follow him. even to Peter. He says, "Follow me, and I'll make you fisher of men." Sometimes we don't like what God is going to say, and there are some people who already know the way. They know the truth about their situation. They know what they need to do. They just don't want to do it. And I'll tell you this: they certainly don't want to hear one of us tell them about it. Okay. So this thing is offensive, and I'm going to cut my lesson short because I see we're having trouble again. Listen, I can't tell you what's going on, but there are people who need Jesus. They absolutely need Jesus, and they absolutely need to hear from us. And so this is where this lesson finds us today. This is where it lands, hopefully. But I just want to give you that there are people who need Jesus. They know they need Jesus. And we cannot become offended by that and stop sharing Jesus with people who know, sharing the truth of Jesus, who need him, rather, because there are people who don't know, people who have never heard of Jesus. There's also barriers to getting to know Jesus. For some people, the barrier is culture. They've never heard of Jesus. They don't know him like we do. Some of us are casual Christians. Well, they don't even know Christ enough to be casual about it or cavalier about the things that we've been commanded to do. And so we have to understand that there are still people out here who are looking for Jesus to be the answer for their world. And we have to come out of our own offense. We have to come out of being offended to be willing to share with those people who don't know, who've never heard the gospel presented to them. And so this is what I want to talk to you about today, because this matters to me. That the people who need Christ need to be able to get him, and I need to be able to share him. You'll hear me talk about this a lot because this is our main goal as believers. Yes, we have problems. Yeah, we have our own struggles. Yes, but we also have, as Paul said, this treasure in earthen vessels, right? So that even though what we face externally, even internally, that none of that has the power to snuff out the fire, to snuff out the light that has been put in me, this little light of mine, that I get to let shine no matter where I go. So Jesus is approached by John's disciples. John is answered by Jesus and says, "Listen, go tell him what you've seen and heard." This is our goal. This is our mandate to go. We talked about that a few weeks ago. Our mandate, our mission, and our message. And I told you I'm cutting this short here. But Jesus says to them as I wrap up, because I got to figure these issues out, y'all. As I wrap this up, he says, "Go and show John again those things which you do hear and see," the things that you've experienced. Look at this. The lame are walking, the blind are hearing, lepers are cleansed, the deaf are hearing, the dead are raised up. Jesus is doing all of this, and the poor have the gospel preached to them. This same Jesus is the one that we're sharing with the world. We're sharing with our family and friends. We know they don't want to hear this, but guess what? Time will come when they even say, "I need an answer. I need help." And we got to be ready. We got to be ready, even as Peter says, be ready always. Be willing even to give an answer to anyone that asketh the reason of the hope that is within you. And I don't want us to lose that. So I'm going to cut this short so I can work on this. I'll take a little time before I have to get out of here today to kind of figure this out. But I want to share this with you today. People need Jesus. And we need to be ready to share him with any and everybody who needs him. If you need Jesus, you're watching me. I'm opening the door today. I'm letting you know you can come to Christ however you are. He accepts all of us. He is the cleansing agent, not us, not anything else, not 12 steps, not any of that stuff. He can turn your life around. He can change you. Listen, the testimonies that Jesus says, listen, even the dead were being raised by Jesus. And so we had that to refer to. He sends that to John. He say, listen, this is it. But there are still people looking for other ways to find peace. And we talked about this in our gathering, that people are on a path, all right, but the path they're on is not the path that leads to heaven. And guess what? We even have to tell people that path you on, even as Proverbs said, there is a way that seemeth right to a man, but the end therein is death. And so it's our goal, it's our job to let people know, listen, I know the life you're living. I know you found peace there. But the Prince of Peace is the one who came. His name is Jesus. He is wonderful. He is a counselor. He is all those. He is whatever you need him to be. Even as God tells Moses, who should I tell Pharaoh who sent me? That's like family. And I got to go up against him. Who should I tell him sent me to do this? And God says, tell him I am that I am. And that I am is I will be. This is whatever you need. We are in a day and time where people need Jesus, and some of them don't even know where to turn. They don't even know that Jesus loves them. They don't even know that Jesus gave his own life for them, that he laid all of that down just for them, just for you and me. They don't even know. They don't even know the simplicity of the gospel message yet. But they're lost in a world of sin. They don't look like us. They don't talk like us. They don't sound like us. They've never been in church. They haven't left Jesus. They haven't left the church. They were never in. So I'm telling us today that we have to be ready to give them what their soul is asking for, what their soul is longing for. It can only be found, y'all. It can only be found in Jesus Christ. There are barriers. I talked about the cultural barriers. Some of us have friends, they didn't grow up in church like us. They don't know how to be a Christian and have one foot in and one foot out. They don't know anything about that. They all in, but they never been in. They've never been in. And this is what we have to teach them. This is what we have to show them. Listen, Christ, yes, he will accept you the way that you are. I love that. There's no way I can live without Jesus. You know, we singing that today. That song says there is no way I can live without him. We come to that conclusion though. And that I love that you said that, Phil, because there are people who are at that point. They're trying everything that they can try. They're trying everything they can think of. They keep looking out into the world, and the world is saying, try this. You tried that drug? Well, you know, after a while, your body get used to that drug. Try this one. Try this. You keep hearing drugs that you maybe never heard of. And you say, well, how do these keep getting into the world? Well, people keep trying stuff. Trying everything but Jesus. Trying everything except the answer. Don't we know that Christ is the answer? Isn't that part of the reason we keep coming? Because at some point in our life, he proved to be the answer. At somewhere in our life, he proved to be the answer that we needed. That's why we're here. Look at all of the people that Jesus showed up for. Look at all the people Jesus showed up for. He healed them, then he said, now follow me. Some of them, he said, now follow me. And some of them he just couldn't get rid of. The lepers, he said, listen, don't tell anybody. But the one, he said, look, he ran off hollering, hey, look what he did for me. A real touch, a real encounter with Jesus will leave you that way. This is what we're trying to tell people. But they don't want to, holy rollers and all of this, and they want to bring you all that other stuff that's inconsequential. Let me tell you what he's done for me. This is why we have the power of our testimony. Jesus says, go tell John what you see happening. So I'm going to ask you this, your testimony. Sometimes that's all people need to hear. Well, what has he done for you? Ain't that the thing? Have any of y'all ever been approached by Primerica salespeople? They lead with the money they're making. They don't tell you that it's set up like an MLM. I've never came to a meeting, so I don't know. But just listening to it, I'm like, I don't know. That reads a lot like multi-level marketing. We got it. We got it. New words for what we used to call a pyramid scheme, but we got new words for it now. Looks like you need me to come to make you some of that money you're talking about. But coming to Christ is not that way. Coming to Christ is like sharing that discount that you found on that product everybody's been looking for. Have y'all seen that? Now, some people will say, I ain't telling anybody about it. But somebody is going to get on Facebook They gonna go live, standing right in front of the sign. They gonna say, y'all need to get here because they have a limited supply. Well, guess what? Ain't no limits to God's supply. Ain't no limits to that. And so as I'm looking at this, listen to what Jesus says. Go and show John again those things which you do hear and see. There are things Christ is doing in your life right now that you have the opportunity to tell somebody about. If you don't believe me, look at me. And I hear this. I think Mama left this comment last week before we got cut off, that some people don't see Christ in us enough for us to even be walking examples or living epistles, as the words say. They don't see him in us. We're bad examples, y'all. We're not even giving them enough to change their minds. But guess what? Give them a chance to see this. And maybe some people don't see what's actually happening. This is how, these weight loss pills and stuff take off. Girl, you look good. Say, man, what you doing? You ain't put that suit on in a long time. I remember that suit, man. What you do? You been sneaking off to the gym? No, man. I've been cutting back on my meals, and I just been walking 20-30 minutes every day. Oh yeah, it's been working for you, man. I hate walking, man. Listen, it's the best thing for you. You get your joints moving again. You start to feel better. You start to breathe better. All this, and next thing you know, here comes Slim and Trim in the room. Man, you were right. Shout out to Slim and Trim, my grandfather, Leroy Wilson. Yesterday would have made 92 years for him, but we remember him always. Leroy Augusta Wilson, absolutely. We called him Slim and Trim, by the way. That's where that jogged my memory. Even though I was going to post about it yesterday. But anyway, you see how that happens? Somebody told me about it. I tried it. I found out that it works. This is why the psalmist says, taste and see. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Have you tasted and seen? Have you tried him? Have you put him to the test? Or are you still tripping about somebody saying you need Jesus? That's become an insult. Like, bless your heart. Here in Texas, oh, bless your heart. You so stupid. You tell folks, no, you need Jesus. They like, I don't need Jesus. I ain't that bad. None of us would really consider ourselves that bad to need Jesus, but guess what? He came for everybody because all of us needed him. So I'm closing here. I know I told y'all I was closing 10 minutes ago, but I seemed like my buffering issue got resolved a little bit. But I see we still behind on the buffering, so I'm gonna go ahead and close in case y'all don't get to see all of this. I don't want to waste the time. So we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God and not of us. What people see, this is God. I'm a walking example. So I can tell you that need Jesus, that there's an obvious need for Jesus in your life, and there's an obvious need for everybody. There's nothing that screams out, oh, I need him. The fact that I'm alive and breathing says I need him, because it's in him that I live, move, and have my being. And that's true for all of us. None of us reach a point to where we don't need Jesus. Don't ever think that. I don't care how long you've been in this way. I don't care how long you've been serving. I don't care how long you've been preaching, singing, whatever. None of this is ever because of us. People know our names, and we feel like I've reached a certain level. I've reached the peak of this thing. Let me tell you something. In God, you'll be surprised how long you've been at a thing and find yourself starting all over again, in a new place, in a new church, in a new city, in a new atmosphere, in a new mindset. So don't ever, I'm saying this to us seasoned folks. I consider myself seasoned in this walk of faith, even though I have not attained it yet. I ain't there yet, but I've been in this long enough to say that there is never a point where we don't need Jesus. There's never a point where autopilot is the way. I need him every second, every minute, every second of the hour. Y'all remember that? Inez Andrews, I need him to walk with me and talk with me every step of the way. I can't do this on my own. I don't do this on my own. And as a matter of fact, I do this because he said do it. I need him. You need him. We all need him. Our job is to make him known. Is to not just make him known, but make him available. How do we make him available? By us being available. I'm doing a better job of talking to strangers, you know? That's the thing that we really need a class on as we deal with evangelism and sharing the gospel. How do we approach people? Maybe we should just get down into the practicality of approaching people. In media work, sometimes I have to talk to strangers and say, hey, how do you feel about this, blah, blah, blah. And they just look at me like, shut up. What is he doing here? You know, so I have to wear my badge, you know, my credentials, and I have to wear them where people can see them because they walking by looking and like, we don't talk to strangers, especially not black ones. And, you know, that's people. They need Jesus. They need Jesus to touch that, you know, in their lives. And can I say this? We all need Jesus because we all have a something. We all have a bias. We all have a prejudice. We all have a misunderstanding about stuff. This is why even Peter, Jesus says to Peter, listen, God says to him, don't call anything I made unclean. And Peter still struggled with that. Later on, we see in Galatians how Paul withstood Peter to his face about that. So we all have that little something in there. And sometimes that'll help people when we say you need Jesus, because you know what? I need him too. I really need him, because some of the things that were just this past week, I was going to get on Facebook. I was going to talk about it on Facebook. And I just wanted to say this. I just wanted to say this to people. You know, man, I cannot believe this is where we are in the history of the world. You know, and there were some other things, and the Lord reminded me of David. Pray about it. Don't post it. You don't have to post everything you're thinking, but you sure better pray about all of that stuff, because you see people's minds are getting bad. They tired of seeing this. There are people who have marched, who were bloodied, who gave money, who gave their resources, who gave their time, who gave their life to work that's being undone right now. And I'm going to tell you now, there are some people who are not going to sit idly by. There are some people who are not leaving this up to the democratic process. And we need to pray, because there are some people who are going to take some things into their own hands. And we don't need that. What Thomas Whitfield say? We don't need another political uprising. We don't need all of that. What we need is a word from the Lord. And we need a word from the Lord, not just to speak to us. Yeah, he can speak to us and say, peace be still, wait on the Lord, all of that. But we need him to speak to the evil people, right? We need him to speak to D.C. Because what in Sam Hill are y'all doing up there? You destroying the country piece by piece. And there are people who just continue to defend that. And I feel like David, Lord, when you going to do something about it? I mean, please already. This was their issue with Jesus. This was why some people were offended in Jesus. He didn't set his sights on the Roman Empire. He didn't set his sights. And can you even understand the Jews that say the thing you could topple, you won't, but you coming in here trying to undo our stuff. So yeah, blasphemer. We're going to send you to be brutalized and murdered by the Roman Empire, since you won't do nothing about it. But this same man says, I come that they might have life and have it more abundantly. This same man says this. He says, I didn't come to condemn the world, but that the world through me might be saved. This same man says, no man takes my life. I lay it down. He did all of that just for you and me. This is why I can say to you, as I say it to myself, you need Jesus. I need Jesus. Quit tripping. We're never in a place where we don't need him. He has laid out everything we need. Even as Peter said, he has given us everything that we need pertaining to life and godliness, according to his great and precious promises. The more we know about him, the more we can lay hold of what he has given us. That's why we can tell people you need Jesus, because there's so much in him, so much more. Listen, some of this stuff, some of what people know about Jesus and their reason for staying away, you've only scratched the surface. He can be whatever you need. This is what I'm telling you watching me today. He'll be every need he will supply. So that's my closing today. That's my unofficial close. I got to get out of here because I'm worried about this buffering issue, and I do need to fix that. So thank y'all for watching. If you stuck with me this whole time, this is our lesson today. You need Jesus. I need Jesus. Our job is not only to make Jesus known, but available. People will deny him. They continue to deny him. But guess what? There's somebody out there who needs him. I got some family, some friends. I just want to say, listen, you've been running long enough. You need Jesus. Get out of here with the Most High, all of that. Now, God does use that name, the Most High. But what has been weaponized is people don't want to say Jesus. They want to just have this allusion to the Most High. This almost like the unknown God in Acts 17. Now, come on, learn about him. I know you're frustrated with church, but church didn't save you. Jesus did. We are the church. And guess what? This perfect man's church is full of imperfect people. We all need Jesus. I'm inviting you, if you've never trusted Jesus with your life, to do that today. You can inbox me. We'll pray with you. We'll believe with you. We'll lead you into this and invite you to walk along with us. But also, if you have left, come on back. You know the truth. You know better. He'll take you. He's seen what you've done already, so ain't no shame. He already knows. What he wants you to do is confess that you need him, and that you need to make him Lord of your life. Give him full control. He will lovingly assume that role in your life. All right, that's our time for today. Y'all pray for me and pray for our broadcast software, our broadcast systems, these social media platforms that we're streaming to. There was even buffering on our online platform. So I got to get to the bottom of this week. So y'all pray that I get to that. And I'm going to use this little bit of time that I have to try to set some things right. Thank y'all.